Hey everyone, it's Inksy Rooster. I made a video about me painting RC cars, which was the first time I ever did that, and I thought they turned out great. One is for my was for my little brother. It's the Milwaukee one. He loves Milwaukee tools, and so I decided to paint one for him for Christmas. I think they turned out great. Like the lines are crisp, the logo turned out perfect, and so I decided to put it together a video about me doing this. So I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, first things first, what you're going to need to do is get yourself a body. They have pre-cut ones and then ones that aren't pre-cut. So that basically means like the tires that you see right there are going to be gone if it's pre-cut. So you don't have to do that. I figured I might as well just get a pre-cut one because I wasn't really. I think they look nice. I don't know really why you want to get a pre-cut one, but that's just I guess that is my thing, I suppose. But I'm cleaning it pretty good. I'm pretty sure it came with an alcohol wipe, and so that's what I'm trying to make sure it's nice and ready for paint and tape and all that. So make sure you get rid of all the dirt and before you start doing stuff. The outsides of these cars, they have a protective plastic on them, so you don't have to really worry about scratching it or it, it getting like foggy or anything. So don't worry about that. All that really matters is the inside. Make sure they take care of that. I used a couple tools when I did this. First things first, of course, is the tape. You can use different sizes of tape. I use an inch, I think inch and a half, and 2 inches. Don't those? I think those were kind of perfect. You could get away with using like a 1 inch or whatever, but having the different sizes really helps. The next thing that I used is a Sharpie. I used the ultra fine Sharpie for a lot of the work. There is a point where I needed a bigger Sharpie. I think it's just a fine point to kind of get some details of a line and like use the marker a certain way. So having the ultra fine I think is a must, but the other markers is kind of whatever. The next tool I used was an X-Acto knife. That's how I was able to get those nice corners and nice cuts and the ease. Like they had very sharp edges and stuff like that. So the one that I had was it's like has like a grip so that it's a more comfortable one. I recommend getting that one if you can, or if you use just a regular one, you'll be okay with it. But I thought the grip was nice, so I recommend that. And then the next thing is a screwdriver. It's a Phillips screwdriver. I put tape on the edge of it, and it helped me push into like creases that I couldn't get my fingers in. And my fingers are actually getting raw from this, so I kind of recommend having this too. You'll see a couple like times in the video you'll see me kind of pushing the screwdriver in to like the sides to kind of make sure it's nice and flush, and because you don't want gaps. If you have a gap, it's gonna, depending on what you're trying to paint, it could mess up the paint. Like if I was on the logo, if I did it on the logo, the paint would run through that gap and create a smudge, which would be, it would basically mess up the whole logo. So make sure that you really put on this tape eh, like flat and flush on the entire thing, because I did one where it wasn't so clean and the everything ran, and so just be careful with that. And so that's why I recommend getting a screwdriver. And lastly, obviously, is paint. I use the Tamiya brand. I don't not familiar with the different types of paints out there, but this worked just fine for me. I I would recommend them because the colors are really pretty. The paint's like really nice. I didn't have any issues with this brand, so I think they're pretty good. Those are the tools I used when I did this project. They came in very handy. The one thing that I should have done when I did this is use the window stickers that it came with. There's well, for this one it would have been 4 stickers that for the front window, two side windows, and the back window. They're cut perfectly to the shape of the car. So when you get your body, try to make sure you find those and use those. I used them for the other bodies that I did, and it would have saved me a lot of time if I would have used for this body too. But I didn't, which is okay. It still turned out really good, so it's whatever. But so there's the other stickers too. There's lights, there's tail lights. Some of them come with the side, like if like Traxxas, they come with Traxxas stickers. So if you want to use those, you can. But obviously, for mine, I didn't because I just want to keep it Milwaukee. One of the other things too is to kind of try to make sure that you curl the tape over the edges. It's kind of unlikely, but if the tape on the outside of the car gets pushed up or something, some of the paint could get to the outside and not just stay on the inside. So then it can kind of look weird. So make sure that you kind of keep your tape, your edges nice and clean. Like right here in the video, you can see where I have it on the outside too. So the first part of when I did this, I had to print out the Milwaukee logo, and I just did that in a Word document, and then kind of used the word art and moved it all around, kind of get to exactly where I wanted it to, and then print it out, and then cut it to where it fit right, and then I had to tape it onto the car, and this is where I used a Sharpie to draw the logo on the other side, and I used my phone to like see through the the logo and the car, and so I was able to stencil it onto the inside of the car, and then from there I was able to use the X-Acto knife to cut everything that I needed to cut, and that's how it turned out pretty good. Is that I was able to make it almost perfect from the way I did it, but there's some parts that I'll always kind of like I could have done this a little better, but I can think that's with everything. So everything turned out really good in this. I think that you could use this method for anything. You don't have to just use it for logos. Like if you want to do stripes and stuff, you could do kind of like use the same way of trying to make sure that the stripes are a certain way, and then paint it, and then stripes another way, then paint it. The way that I would describe making these RC cars is think of like an upside down hamburger. So like the top of the bun is the body, and then the ketchup and mustard is the first layer that you paint, and then the pickles, and then bacon, and then cheese, and then meat, and then the bottom bun. And that's kind of the same way as that you do. I did the logo, which was white, and then black, which is the bed, and then the hood, and then like running bars at the top. And then I did red, which is obviously the body, and then the smoke color for the windows. So if you want to do something like more simple, like racing stripes, you could tape the whole thing and then just cut your lines going straight down the middle, paint them blue or red or whatever color, and then paint the body the right, the rest of the obviously the other color that you want to paint it. I would say just kind of be careful, because when you paint a light color, the next color will darken it, and if you don't paint the next like any color, then the color might almost seem see-through. Like the red that I used, it was pretty transparent instead of like a solid red. So if I wanted to, I probably should have left the windows on and then sprayed a layer, like a light layer of black behind it, and that would like solidify the color to more of like a bold red instead of like a light cherry red. Which depending on what you kind of want, it's up to you. And that's kind of getting into where you're kind of messing with colors and stuff like that. But for the white, definitely, I would say 100% you need like a back color. When I sprayed the black, I'm pretty sure I covered the white because I didn't want the white to become too dark. Because if you look at the Milwaukee logo, it's pretty bright. But when I sprayed the red color, I think it helped the white stand out a lot better. And so when you do these colors, just kind of think about it, depending on what you're trying to do, what colors will help what colors. I don't think you have to worry about too much. I think, most of the time if you do the layers right, I think the colors will turn out just fine. I think there's like a ton of different combinations you could do too, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff you could do. I saw someone do some Gravedigger stuff. Like they just cut out the letters like Gravedigger, and it looked really cool. Obviously black and green and stuff. So I think there's a lot of cool things you could do with this stuff. So here's the first layer of paint down. The white turned out really nice. And I kind of show the camera a little bit, kind of see, so all that is cut out by hand. So I tell anybody that's very doable by yourself. Like you could. I don't really have a steady hand, and I was able to cut out something like I'd say pretty good, at least to me. And so the next thing that I had to do is you had to use a Sharpie to mark out all these areas of where my next layer of paint was going to go. So like the hood and then the bed and all that. I marked it all out, and then I took this X-Acto knife and I just started cutting away, trying to get them as closely to the shape as I could. When you do this, just try not to miss anything. I think I had an issue where part of the hood was higher than what I thought it was, and if I didn't catch it, I think the hood could have looked wonky. Like it basically would like look like part of the hood is red and part of it's black, and which you don't really want. You don't want it to be inconsistent. So just kind of be aware of that. So once you get to this part, you're going to start kind of feel like it's coming together, like you're going to start seeing like the shape of everything, because you're halfway done with it at this point, which I was pretty excited about it when I got here. I would say one of the most therapeutic parts about this is like pulling out giant chunks of tape. Like the little parts were like whatever, but having like the bed of the truck, it just kind of came out as like a giant square, and so it kind of felt pretty nice. At this point, I'm taking all the tape off, getting ready to paint the red. The Milwaukee logo will still have tape in it, and you gotta be very careful taking the tape off. Just make sure you look on the other side of the Milwaukee logo. Like if you're like you flip it over, as in like the outside is up top, because you'll see little pieces of tape that because like it's X-Acto knife, the X-Acto knife cut little pieces of tape off when you're trying to do a couple layers because you're gonna have to like go back and forth a couple times, and so try to make sure you get out every little piece of tape that you see because if you paint over that, that's going to be part that could either be a part of your car forever, or you could take it off later and then there will be a clear part that you can see through when you're finally done with painting everything, which you don't really want that. Which you could take a paintbrush and just paint some red right there or white, like if I missed that or anything, but it's better just to avoid it. As you can see, I have pretty much all the tape off. I kept the tape on for the headlights because I wanted to smoke the headlights as well, that's gonna be the last layer of paint. Something to remember for the smoking is to kind of do it in layers. You don't want to like lay on heavy. You want to do a quick layer, let it dry, look at it. If you don't like the tint, another layer, let it dry, look at it. You want to keep doing that until you like the color of it. I did two layers, and the first one I did really heavy because it didn't look right to me, and so it had like a weird drip inside of it that I didn't really like. So I would say just kind of try to be careful of that, and once you get it done, if you take your time with it, it'll look good. So in all, I think I did a pretty good job with this. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I would love to do it again. I'm sure there's something else that I could do that's pretty cool. As you can see on the screen, you can see the smoke in the window. I think it turned out perfect. I wouldn't want any darker than that, but that's my preference. It's up to you what your preference is. Um, I will say that in all, everything cost me $50, which isn't. I don't think it's too bad for RC cars are pretty expensive anyway. So The card body's $30. The tape was $7. But that's only for one thing of tape. The Sharpie's $3. The knife is $3, and then paint for one can of paint is $7. So for this, it was, let's see, white, red, black. So four times seven is 28. So mine was a little bit more expensive, but that's because I'm doing three colors, which makes everything checks out. So if you guys like this video or like the car, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if you've done something cool. Like let me describe your personal RC car, or if this video helps you have an idea and you could do it. Let me know because I would love to hear about that. So I'll see you guys next time. The Snakes Rooster signing out. Peace.